Spartacus, the gladiator who defied Rome. Year 73 BC, Capua, Roman Republic. A cold wind swept across the stone walls of the gladiator school in Capua. The sound of chains echoed through the dark corridors. Inside, among dozens of men who had been beaten, branded, and broken, stood a figure whose eyes still burned with something rare: hope. His name was Spartacus. Born in Thrace, far beyond the borders of Rome, Spartacus had once been a free man, a soldier, a farmer, perhaps even a father. But his fate changed when he was captured, sold into slavery, and thrown into the brutal world of gladiatorial combat. He wasn't just taught how to fight, he was taught how to die. The first spark of freedom. By day, he bled in training. By night, he whispered stories of freedom to his fellow slaves. He spoke of home, of liberty, of a life without chains, and others listened. Then one night, the impossible happened. Using kitchen knives, stolen utensils, and sheer desperation, Spartacus and around 70 gladiators revolted. They escaped into the streets of Capua, overpowering their guards in a stunning uprising. Rome laughed at first. Just some runaway slaves, they said. But they would soon learn. This was only the beginning. The Mountain of Rebellion. Spartacus and his band of rebels took refuge on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. There, away from Rome's iron grip, they began to grow. Slaves ran away from their masters to join them. Farmers abandoned their fields. Disillusioned peasants and former soldiers flocked to the cause. Within months, Spartacus commanded an army of over 100,000 men, women, and children. But this wasn't just a war, it was a revolution. And Spartacus was not just a fighter. He was becoming a symbol, a voice for the voiceless. Tactics of a genius, Spartacus proved to be more than a gladiator. He was a brilliant tactician. When the Roman general Gladiator tried to trap the rebels on Mount Vesuvius, Spartacus devised a plan that stunned the Republic. His men weaved ropes from wild vines and rappelled down the cliffs, ambushing the Roman camp from behind. It was a massacre. Rome sent more armies. Spartacus crushed them again and again. City after city fell. The rebellion marched south, leaving behind stories of hope and fear. Divided paths. But freedom came with a price. Spartacus wanted to escape Rome altogether, to cross the Alps and return home. He had no interest in conquering Rome, but not everyone agreed. Some leaders, like Crixus, dreamed of taking the war to Rome itself. Internal divisions weakened the rebels. Some split off, others were ambushed. Still, Spartacus pressed on. His army was a flood, and Rome stood trembling behind its walls. The Roman response: Crassus rises. The Senate panicked. They turned to one of the richest men in Rome, Marcus Licinius Crassus. Ruthless, ambitious, and cold-blooded, Crassus took command of the legions. He didn't just fight the rebels. He built massive trenches and walls, boxing Spartacus in, cutting off escape. Starvation set in, tensions rose. But Spartacus didn't yield. Legend says he offered Crassus ransom to free the slaves. Crassus refused. So Spartacus raised his sword to the skies and chose to fight one last time. The final battle, the plain of Selinus. It was early 71 BC. Two massive forces stood face to face on the Selinus plain. Spartacus knew what waited. Yet he rode to the front, rallied his warriors, and charged, not to survive, but to be remembered. He fought with fury, cutting through Roman lines, aiming directly for Crassus's command. Some say he got within sight of the general. Others say he died surrounded, still swinging his sword. What is certain? He never returned. Aftermath. A silence lined with crucifixes, 6,000 rebels were captured. Crassus had them crucified along the Appian Way, the road from Rome to Capua. One cross every few meters, a grim message carved in blood. But they did not kill Spartacus's legacy. His body was never found. His name became a legend. The man becomes myth. Spartacus was more than a gladiator. He was a man who stood up, not just against Rome, but against injustice, against slavery, against the very idea that some men are born to serve. His story spread through history, inspiring revolutionaries, writers, filmmakers, and dreamers. Even today, the world remembers him, not because he won, but because he dared to fight. Epilogue. So the next time you walk freely, speak freely, or dream freely, remember the man who bled for a dream of freedom. A Thracian slave, a rebel, a warrior. Spartacus,